PokeRamble Podcast.
On this week's episode, we're going to be having a short but Sewaddle show as we have news from the Pokemon mobile games that will make you go, oh my Cosmog. Stay tuned for the show. Welcome to episode 7 of the PokeRamble Podcast. I'm your host Kamal, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the Frontier Brain himself, Amit. How are you today, friend?
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday indeed. It feels like Sunday's gone by in a flash. Football hasn't been kind to me either.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a really quick week, but it's nice to be back. Another podcast. I guess maybe because last week we did 2 podcasts in a single week.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I
messed up hugely, man. I messed up hugely. I forgot that Ubisoft sort of conference is right after this. So, yeah, thankfully the world of Pokemon's been quite quiet because I don't know what I would have done otherwise. Yeah, and I should
You're checking out the Ubisoft stream at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, I should probably check my diary before we get into the show, just so I know not to promote the show for 7:30 next week instead of in case something is happening. So if you just want to fill time for a second, I'm just going to have a double check of that.
Absolutely. So just to give viewers a heads up, this week we're going to be rounding up all the major news from a lot of the Pokemon mobile games. So Pokemon Go, Pokemon Masters. I've got some personal news that I'm looking forward to sharing and talking about during the podcast. And obviously other games as well, like Pokemon Cafe. Trying to remember what other mobile games there are. Pokemon Rumble Rush.
You no longer have to remember because we are ready to move on to the next section, or the first section, I should say. So without further ado, let's go, like Mario would say. What's Pokemon going on? So yeah, Pokemon Go, some interesting stuff. First off, next week, Sunday, we've got the Ghastly Community Day. We spoke about that last week, so that's just a reminder for you. So make sure you log in between, I believe it's 10 till 5 to get your Ghastlies. So yeah, that's the first thing. But the more exciting thing is Jesse and James are in Pokemon Go. You can find them in the Team Rocket balloon, the famous looking Team Rocket balloon with Meowth. They seem to be using their design for the Mewtwo Strikes Back remake, which doesn't sit too right with me, to be honest with you. But hey, it is what it is. They spawn randomly, and if you beat them, you've got a chance of getting either a shiny Coughing or Ekans. Not guaranteed, but it's a chance. But yeah, how do you react to that news of seeing those 2 troublemakers there?
It's fun. I feel like, and we'll get into it later, but Team Rocket seems to be popping up everywhere at the moment. It's nice. I mean, it's always nice because they're characters with probably, other than Ash, the longest running history in the anime as well. So plenty of different stories to tap into.
Yeah,
big fan of Jesse and James.
Well, I think maybe in anime sort of history, I'd probably argue like they're the best villains, really, and sometimes they're not even villains, really, when you think about it. But yeah, they're definitely my favorite villains of any anime franchise. They're just so entertaining. Oh, and we've got a subscriber. I'll try to
Oh, nice. Thank you.
I've really got to find the right volume for the podcast because I have no idea what it sounds like for other people that listen on the Spotify. Oh my god, we got another subscriber.
Very crazy.
It's yeah, I'm gonna have to sort this out for next week. But thank you very much for the 2 subscribers during the live recording of the podcast. But yeah, so we've got Jesse and James in Pokemon Go, and I've fought them a couple of times, and it's fun because they use their their traditional lines of prepare for trouble, make it double, so on and so forth. But the other interesting thing,
they stuck to the original ones, did they?
Sorry,
they stuck to the original.
Yeah,
Team
indeed.
Rocket intro.
Yeah, indeed. The
I
other
think it was Gen 5 where it was just so different, and I couldn't stomach it.
In the anime as well, Japanese side, I think they change it up every season. So yeah, it takes some getting used to. But we will always be big stands of the first original phrasing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I forgot to add as well, you can get their costumes in the shop for absolutely free, so make sure you go ahead and purchase them for yourself. But yeah, the other thing that came into the game was the fact that we've got now Team Rocket balloons, which are these black looking balloons that appear, I think, every 4 or 5 hours in the game. And before, you could only fight Team Rocket if you're at a Pokestop and they've taken over the Pokestop. But now you've got a chance being at home to have a Rocket Balloon turn up and you can fight a Team Rocket member, be it a Grunt, a leader, or the boss Giovanni. So,
If I've learned anything from 25 years of Pokemon, if you use Razor Leaf on the balloon, I think you win automatically. That's how that works, right?
If only it was that simple, brother. If only it was that simple. Maybe that'll come next year. But interestingly enough, if you fight Giovanni, you've got a chance of actually capturing a Shadow Suicune. So, get grinding, people. Get grinding. I just want to say great for accessibility. Not much else to say, really. I'm happy to move on if you're happy to move on.
Yeah, nice that they're thinking of even more inventive ways to help people play from home. It's cool.
So you want to be a Pokemon Masters, and I just want to give a quick acknowledgement to Albob in the chat, who's got his emotes approved. So congratulations to good old Albob in the chat. But Pokemon Masters, we're talking about Pokemon Masters, and I think you've got something to tell me.
I started playing Pokemon Masters again. So look, I played it at launch, and I probably played it a ridiculous amount. I think I played it, 3 or 4. I mean, you normally play a lot of games.
Yeah.
But I feel like even when Pokemon Masters came out, I was playing maybe twice as much as you were because I was all over this game.
You're
every
quite
so often,
intense, I'd say, when it comes to some
yeah,
certain games.
I don't do like half-hearted. So I had to put the game down, and you've been like teasing me over and over again with like all of this content. And every week when we talk about Pokemon Masters on the podcast, I sing its praises because it's so well designed. The story is fantastic. Just the character interactions are fun. It's nice to have a game that builds on, the interactions of characters that you don't ordinarily get to see in a way that the anime or, the mainstream series just isn't able to do because the limitations of, I don't know what it is, voice actors or, the fact that it's set in a specific region or whatever it is. I'm playing Pokemon Masters again. And I'm loving it. I'm having a great time.
And not to go into like specifics of the current events because I want to talk about them separately, but you being someone that came in at launch, stopped, and have come back into the game afterwards, how have you found the sort of differences and the transition from what it used to be to what it is now?
There's a lot more going on in a good way, really good way. There's lots of different types of events. There's obviously more story to play. There's lots more. I wouldn't call it post game because obviously it's part of the core gameplay, but like more difficult challenges once you finish the story.
And a lot more mechanics, I think, towards the end of the game as well that you've got to tap into.
Yeah, they've brought out lots of different ways to sort of make your teams even stronger than they were before through various different things we've talked about in the past, sync reads and things like that. So it's a really in-depth game. It's a really fun game to play. I'm having lots of fun with it. I'm probably playing it a bit too much. I'll be honest, because I always go a bit too intense. I think I just want to catch up with, enough that I can challenge some of the end game content.
Yeah, where you can just farm it and not have to worry about time limits and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I do enjoy waking up in the morning and seeing a message from you, just talking about Pokemon Masters and something new that you've learned or something you've seen, and just to have someone else playing the game now and talking to me about it has made me very happy. So long may it continue.
Yeah, it's how I used to feel about Pokemon Go when I had some friends who played at work with me. And it was one of those things where we come in every day and be like, oh, we did all of these things. And, it'd be a really good talking point. And I think for me, that's probably why I was into Pokemon Go for as long as I was, is that I was playing with people in real life. And that was, so much the fun of it that we got to talk about a game that was, different and challenging every single day and required you to actually, walk or do things that were out of the ordinary of your day than just sitting down and, grinding.
It was a phenomenon when it came out. Everyone was playing it. Everyone was
playing
it. It almost caused world peace at that point.
One of the best things about that game is it encourages you to raid and I met lots of people through raids like in real life, and it was fun. And obviously, like, didn't stay in touch with them or whatever, but it was a fun way to walk up to a group of people and have a way to introduce yourself to strangers and say, oh, are you guys trying to take on, I don't know, Tyranitar or Charizard too? And they'd be like, yeah, join in. And it's just a nice way to get to know more people and get to have some experiences that I think you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Well, actually,
I'm enjoying
we met each other through a Pokemon Go Community Day event, so that was It was
We
an
did.
arranged
Well,
meeting,
that
but
was our
yeah,
it was our excuse to meet up, wasn't it, for the first
exactly.
time and only time? Why don't we spend more time together? We podcast, and
Coronavirus.
yeah, coronavirus. We podcast a lot, but we've only ever met each other once. It's crazy.
It feels like I've known you forever, but we'll leave the
I
romance to
know.
another podcast. But let's move on
Yeah.
to the next bit of Pokemon Masters news. Lucy and Survivors in the game. How cool is that? So here's the thing from the Pokemon Masters Twitter account. They say the I'll just leave that word out. The frontier brain of the battle pike, Lucy, lets her fighting spirit do all the talking. She trains hard to win against all challenges and never forgets anyone who defeats her. So yeah, I didn't expect her to be in this game as early as she was, and I didn't actually expect another a frontier brain to be in the game, to be honest with you. So what's your reaction to the news that she's in the game?
Yeah, great. I'm a big fan of the Battle Frontier. It's probably the time where I spent most of my Pokemon days. Of every region of every game, the Emerald Battle Frontier is by far and away the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I'm a big fan of the Frontier branch. I think they've got really cool stories in the anime. I think they're really well designed. I think they've got very different personalities. And it was the first time, like, I think about the Battle Dome, and like, there's some really big personalities in the Battle Frontier. I'm a big fan.
And her
So yeah,
design's
we've
really
got
cool to
our
match the
second Frontier.
Viper's sort of design as well, which is cool. I think that's how she appears in the game anyway, doesn't she? So
Yeah, it's very similar to her anime outfit.
just as a quick question, because I brought up characters, so you've come back into the game, and just as a quick answer, who's your favorite character currently in the game that you've got?
I was always a big fan of Skylar when I used to play.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big because I always like the fact that when she uses one of her signature abilities, she just says "never give up," and I'm like, yeah, I won't give up.
Or in Japanese, it's never give up a this, you know. So it's quite
Fantastic,
funny. But yeah,
fantastic.
so she's still
And
number one,
then
or
the other character I'm really enjoying is Serena,
oh, I'm
who has
so
only just
jealous,
come out.
so jealous.
Yeah, and I was so fortunate to get Serena in my third try. I literally stopped getting any other characters after I got Serena, and I figured out now how to use her effectively, and I'm having a great time. So between those two characters, they're probably the most fun to play with.
You know, getting Serena or like Lucy would be a great birthday present. And whilst we're talking about birthday presents, I just wanted to give a belated happy birthday to Assemble Show in the chat. So a belated happy birthday to him. But Lucy comes with the poison type training event. So good time to level up your poison types. And I'm guessing you're taking full advantage of this at the moment, being someone that's just returned to the game.
Yeah, I mean it's surprising actually. The game isn't too onerous on leveling up. I mean, back when I first played, it was a real grind to unlock levels and level up. They've definitely smoothed that curve. So I find myself now with 10 or 12 sync pairs at maximum level, all moves unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing for 11 days, so it's definitely not as bad as it was. And these training events make a massive difference. So if you are playing Pokemon Masters, go check it out. I'm sure your team, Koga, and others will appreciate it.
And I still think Koga's probably the best poison type at the moment, mind you. So yeah, can't go wrong with Koga. He's got his sync grid now. People just listening to me saying sync grid, they're thinking just what's going on here? What is going on here?
Although we did get a new poison type.
We did, but let's leave that as a surprise for people to find out who the poison type they're getting. But you're getting one of these guys, and it's Jesse and James. So surprise, surprise, we got a Team Rocket event tie-in to the movie in Pokemon Masters. You just woke up one day and there they are. We've got a story event with the Rocket trio. And yeah, how did you find that reveal? Because
it was really surprising because what I loved about it was it didn't sort of say go and click here to start the story. It just, you booted the game and you were in, which I really, really liked. Because I was really surprised. You see the beginning of the story. I won't spoil it. But you see the sort of cutscene for the intro of the little story in the game, and it's great. The story is really really funny, well written. It's a shame that obviously it's understandable they haven't got voice actors for Team Rocket due to the ongoing pandemic. So there is a message in the game that says the English voice actors will be added soon, but the Japanese voice actors are there, and it's good fun.
And can I just say,
the story is really funny.
on that, the Japanese voice actors, they didn't just bring Japanese voice actors on. They've brought the original voice actors for Jesse and James. So when I heard them speak, I was like, wait, what? So it's just a nice little touch they have, because, you know, it's not always easy to bring the anime voice actors into like different sort of other sort of properties like the games and whatnot. So the fact they've done that is a really, really special touch.
Yeah, it really makes me hope that when we get whatever the next Pokemon game is, we get little snippets of dialogue in the same way that characters in Masters don't have, you know, every sentence.
It's very visual novel style, yeah, where you
Yeah,
have a
but
few
they
words
have
and phrases.
little tidbits where they'll say, you know, oh, come on, or, you know, we can do this, and like little things like that. That would be, you know, even a step forward in the mainstream games. Because I think it just adds a level of personality to these characters that you sometimes don't get when you're just pressing the A button as quickly as you can.
Just before we go to a special segment in today's episode, this story was supposed to be tied in with the movie, which was actually supposed to come out by now. So it's a bit sad that, you know, it's missed that, but I'm glad they've given it to us nonetheless, even though we don't really know when the movie's going to be. We just know winter at the moment. But yeah, so I just want to say, this is the first anime sync pair we've got in the game, which opens up a lot of possibilities for characters in the game. And this actually leads me on to this special segment. It's time for Please Be Excited Asks a Question.
It's Please Be Excited for a Question. Today's question is, if you could have a sync pair in Pokemon Masters from the anime, who would it be? My answer would have to be Misty and Psyduck. Now back to you in the studio for your answers.
Thank you, Ben. So Ben asks, if you can have a sync pair from the anime, who do you want to see? So Amit, let me know who you want to see.
So I had a really wacky answer. Sync pairs, for those of you who never played Pokemon Masters, is typically a trainer with their signature Pokemon. And now that we've got a Team Rocket sync pair, I thought, why not go one step further and have Meowth as the trainer and Wobbuffet as the Pokemon.
That is very unconventional.
Moves like Counter and Mirror Coat. And then Meowth could have some fun trainer abilities like giving you extra money or, you know, a surprise attack or something like that. But I thought it'd be really funny to have Meowth as the trainer, like commanding. I mean, their relationship is fantastic in the anime. But Meowth and Wobbuffet for me is such a classic pairing. And Wobbuffet's like, you know, the unofficial fourth, you know, member of the Team Rocket team. So I absolutely think we should get him in the game somehow.
Yeah, it's definitely not just another Pokemon. It definitely is the fourth member for me. It's earned its stripes. It's earned its stripes. Yeah, I like that.
What about you? Who would yours be?
This might be a bit of a deep cut, but Casey from the original series, and I would actually have her in Elekid. So for people who don't know, Casey was in the Johto sort of series of Pokemon, and she and her family are big fans of this Electabuzz baseball team. And I just thought it'd be really cool to have her in the game. I mean, there's more and more Pokemon that you can pair up with, Elekid being one, Beedrill being another one, and then also her partner Pokemon Meganium. But I thought that might be a cool little addition. I mean, if we're gonna get anime characters, let's give some representation to the lesser known ones, I'd say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's quite a specific answer. Great character, and was, if I'm right, I think in 2 different episodes.
She actually featured quite heavily. I think 3 times in the original series, and then 2 times in Chronicles. So yeah, she was she was definitely not sort of like a side character to be forgotten.
No, very cool.
Maybe Pokemon Journeys will bring her back. Who knows? I hope so. But before we move on, have you got anything to add, or should we just go to the next section?
Let's go to the next section.
Next section time. And I've forgotten to cue up the music. It's time for everyone's favorite section, where the Helioptile is Pokemon Sleep. Where is it?
Well, we have some big news.
What?
But we actually have big news this week.
Nani?
We have developed more towards Pokemon Sleep than the actual developers.
How depressing is that?
Look at our new emote, our new sleeping Pikachu emote for our Twitch channel. We've done more work on Pokemon Sleep than the developers.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what, next week we better have a proper update. We're moving on. So it's time for the podcast form news roundup. So Pokemon Calf, what's going on in Pokemon Calf?
After the Score Bunny event wraps up in 3 days' time, you can get your hands on a Sobble. Sobble will also show up in the cafe as a visitor, and if you clear the challenges, you can also unlock him as a staff member. So Sobble is your character for the next 2 weeks that you can unlock. And also Pokemon Cafe has done some revamp to some of the original levels to make them a little easier, and then also add some more challenging things after you finish the main story as well. So lots happening in Pokemon Cafe. They're clearly working hard to keep the content fresh and relevant. So go check it out if you're a fan of the game, or check out our review from 2 weeks ago.
Dude, I really want to just play this game again, just because of the design of the bloody Sobble. It looks so cool, man.
I can imagine. I would love if you got his order wrong, that he would just start crying.
Oh god, another deep cut. Never mind. Okay, what's happening in Pokemon Rumble Rush? That's, I think, ending after this week.
Yeah, when we talked about Rumble Rush ending, I think we did a whole segment on it at one point.
Yeah.
But the Lunala Cup is the next event in Pokemon Rumble Rush. It powers up Ghost and Psychic type Pokemon. Take part in the Battle Royale challenge. There's an island themed around it as well. It's strange that they're still adding fresh new content to a game that's in theory due to close down in a week or two's time. I forget the exact date, but go check it out if you're still playing Pokemon Rumble Rush. Some people must be, because the game is still going strong.
Indeed. And, well, we're trying to catch the Ubisoft conference, so that's the end of the podcast form news for this week. Not much else in the Pokemon world, to be fair, so it kind of lent itself for being a shorter show. But is there anything you want to say before we leave the podcast? Or end it, I should say.
I should say a big thank you to everyone who checked out the podcast last week. We had to do some editing to get it past the copyright filters. So for those of you who got to listen to it after we were live on Twitch, thank you for bearing with it. Last week was good fun. I had a lot of fun doing that podcast, and we'll be back next week with a full podcast from 7:30. Normal service resumed.
Yeah, and just quickly, if anyone doesn't get the podcast title, I'll PoryPhone you back. That's from Pokemon Masters. You get a Porygon phone, which is really cool. And so we just thought, I'll PoryPhone you back is a good title.
The Porygon phone is more useful than the Rotom mobile.
It's less creepy as well, less intrusive.
Come at me.
Yeah,
I'm putting it out there.
But that's it for this week's episode. So without further ado, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. You can email us on PokeRamblePod@gmail.com. There's no event next week, so we'll be back at Sunday, 7:30 British summertime. Till then, I'm Kumail, and
I've been the Frontier Brain.
there we are. Till next time, people.
Bye, guys.